going on, guys? Welcome back to another video, and I hope everyone's having a great day. If you're new, welcome. My name is Jai. Welcome to my channel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. If you want to, be sure to check out my other channels in the description below. That will be my gaming channel and my singing channel, which will be in the description below, like I said, and I will be uploading more on those things, especially my singing channel. So let's get into it. We're back with WANSEE Entertainment compilation of July 2020, and this is part 3.
It happened a few years ago. I was hanging out at the local mall with a couple of my friends, just chatting, as usual. All my friends had social media accounts, like Facebook or Instagram, and they would focus on it sometimes when we were goofing around together. Drake, one of my friends, was saying that he met a girl from Facebook. He also told us that he really liked her, and that he was going out with the girl that night. We joked with him that he was going to be going out with some 40-year-old man. Like those kind of jokes, you know. Hours later, we had to go back home, so we all left the mall. When I got back home, I went inside my room to watch some TV. It was almost midnight when I got a text from my friend saying, "Hey, just finished the date." So I texted back, "Was he pretty?" He replied, "Very funny. The jokes aside, my car broke down and I need you to pick me up." Then he sent me an address. Well, I'm not the kind of person who ignores when my friend needs a hand. So I asked my parents if I could take the car, and they said yes. I grabbed my phone and texted again, "On my way." Soon I got to the address he sent me and parked in the driveway. While I was going up the stairs, I kind of had a creepy feeling, as if I was being watched. Anyway, I rang the doorbell and heard someone say, "Come in." At first, I didn't recognize the voice. It was neither my friend's voice nor a female voice, so I just figured that it might be the girl's dad. Well, I was a bit surprised that the door was already open. But anyway, I walked in, and when I closed the door behind me, I saw this man watching TV with the girl and my friend. I said, "Hey, Drake." However, for some reason, he didn't respond. I had a strange feeling, so I slowly walked up to Drake, and I would never forget what I saw at that moment. The girl and my friend Drake were stabbed, and they were already dead.
Oh my God.
They were put in a position in a way that it looked like they were sitting, so I thought they were just watching TV like that. I looked over at the man watching TV, and I saw that he was holding a bloody knife in one hand, and my friend's phone in his other hand. He was smiling. The man turned his head toward me, stood up and said, "Hello, young man. It's your turn." I tried to run out of the door, but because he was laughing so loudly, I was terrified, and I couldn't move.
But there was no choice.
When he approached me, I abruptly kicked him, knocked him down, and managed to run outside. Fortunately, he didn't chase after me, but I didn't care. I just got in my car and drove off straight to my home. As soon as I got home, I woke my parents and told them about what had happened. And of course, they contacted the police. The police arrived pretty fast and raided the house, but didn't find my friend, the girl, or even the man. And to this day, they still haven't found any clues.
Oh my
Now
God.
I've grown up and I'm living on my own with my wife and newborn daughter.
Well, that's good.
I always think about what would have happened to me if I was unable to run away that day. And my friend Drake, his face keeps coming up in my mind all the time since then.
The woman on the bus. That's sad.
This happened when I was on my way to my grandmother's house. On that day, I tried to catch the jeepney because the other buses were already full at 12 a.m. I finally found a jeepney, and there were only a few people inside. There was a driver, a money collector who was hanging onto the outside of the vehicle, 2 girls, a few guys, and an old woman. We were on the road when we passed by a mental hospital. Then a lady with a hospital gown on was standing there, pointing her finger out, which meant she wanted a ride.
No, you would have passed
She
him
was
by.
bald and her face was pale white. The jeepney stopped next to her, and the inside of the car went silent. The streets were covered in fog and darkness, and the light of the jeepney was the only light source. At the time, I was texting my grandma and said that I was going to be late while glancing at the lady. However, before she stepped on the stairs of the jeepney, the driver abruptly jammed the accelerator and left her behind.
Oh.
I was confused. It seemed like everyone was too. When we looked over at the driver, he seemed to be so scared, but we didn't know the reason why. I asked him why he left the lady behind, and he replied with a trembling voice. He said, "She's not just a lady, ma'am." At that point, the driver looked at the rearview mirror, shut his mouth, and then increased the speed. When I followed his eyes towards the mirror, I saw it. The lady was running towards the jeepney with a weird pose and an abnormal speed. She was so fast that I couldn't see her
Where's
face
this at?
clearly, but her dress was visible. It was covered with blood. The collector, who was hanging outside, jumped inside and then yelled to the driver, "Faster! She's getting closer!" People inside the jeepney were getting scared. I was the closest to the door and out of nowhere saw the lady jump on the vehicle. She then slowly hung onto the door of the jeepney, and finally she lifted her face. She had bruises all over her face, and she was smiling at us with sharp teeth and big, deep black eyes. My heart almost stopped, and everybody in the jeepney screamed. I quickly hit her with my bag, and she tumbled down from the jeepney. However, the moment she got off, I saw her standing. She looked at me and then laughed like a demon. Not long after,
Oh my
the
gosh,
jeepney
where
finally
is this
reached
at?
the station. Everyone hurried off the car. I got off and handed my payment to the guy. Then I went to the 7-Eleven nearby and bought some snacks to ease my nerves. I was at the counter thinking about what just happened, and then the cashier suddenly asked me, "Are you okay?" "Yeah, I'm fine. I'll just say that I saw a crazy lady on the road when we were riding on the jeepney," I said, and then I couldn't believe his response. "I know her. She had cancer, and the moment she lost all of her hair, she went crazy, laughing all the time, hurting herself, and even threatening to kill people. That's why her family eventually moved her out to the mental hospital.
And she killed
But
herself
after a week,
on that road.
she tried to escape, got hit by a jeepney, and died," he said. I was shocked, and goosebumps were all over my body. I asked the cashier if he still remembered the plate number of the jeepney. "Well, for my privacy, I'm not going to mention the number, but after he told me, I thanked
I'm gonna
him,
look the story up.
got my change, and looked for the jeepney I was on. The moment I found the jeepney again, I froze.
I
The
saw the
jeepney
lady.
that I rode was the same one that hit and killed the lady."
They didn't clean that up? Mm-mm. True horror story about the mirror and
This happened when I was in middle school. My school was kind of old building, and some places were almost worn out. The school had 3 main bathrooms. 2 were pretty maintained, but the last one was different. It was separated from most of the other buildings. The floor was always
Kind of like a
dirty,
cubicle,
and there were
kinda.
6 stalls, but only 3 had doors, and even those doors were all broken up. I hated ever going there. Well, not just me. All the girls hated that gross place. Anyway, one day, while I was in the classroom chattering with my friends, I had to use the bathroom so bad. Unfortunately, that gross bathroom was the closest, and furthermore, I didn't want to try my luck to endure it. So I went inside, and I could say that it was the grossest smell I've ever smelled. I entered the last stall, which was much
They don't got
cleaner
a
than the
janitor?
others in a hurry, and had to keep my pants not touching the floor.
How
Afterward, I
about
went to
your
the sink to wash my
ass
hands.
touching the toilet seat?
The inside of the bathroom was silent, and all I could hear was the sound of water running from the faucet. Then I heard a tapping sound. I turned off the tap and glanced up at the mirror, but I couldn't see anything because the surface of the mirror was so dirty. So I looked down, washed my hands, and started to dry them until I heard a tapping noise again. I grabbed some paper towel and slowly wiped off the mirror, and at that moment, I finally saw
I would just go about my business.
it was visible. There was a hand that was out of one of the restroom stalls, tapping on the surface of the door. Those fingers were pale white and skinny as a bone.
Get out.
However, when I quickly turned around, the fingers were vanished. I couldn't believe what I'd seen, so I just thought myself that let's just wash it and leave it, as I turned around and stood in front of the mirror. Then I saw my reflection very clearly. That was the worst part in my story. I was smiling at me. I mean, the reflection of me was literally
gosh, it's
smiling
demonic.
with mouth
Get out of
wide
there.
open. I couldn't move. I just glanced at the mirror and froze in fear, and then I heard the tapping noise again. To my surprise, when I looked closely at the mirror, I noticed that my reflection was tapping on the mirror to get my attention, and on the other hand, it was beckoning to me. I screamed in fear, threw my paper towel, and ran away from the bathroom. As I came back to the classroom, I told my friends what I'd seen, but they never believed me. After that day, I never went into that bathroom again. To this day, I don't want to know what I saw in there, and I'm still a bit paranoid about mirrors. Well, I'll never forget what I saw for the rest of my life.
I'm happy. Oh my God, the woman dancing in my dream.
This is a story about a dream. There was a person who was preparing for a trip. After he bought a plane ticket, he waited a few days with excitement and finally fell asleep a day before the trip. And he had a weird dream. He saw a woman in his dream wearing a colorful jacket. Her eyes and mouth were both wide open. Then she suddenly shook her body and started to dance like a mad person. Being surprised, he finally woke up. He checked the time and then he realized that the boarding time had already passed. All of a sudden, he received a phone call from his mother while he was thinking about what he should do next. As soon as he answered the phone, he heard his mother's anxious voice. She was worried about him. Confused, he turned on the television and the news made his heart drop. The plane that he was supposed to be on had crashed.
Oh wow.
Furthermore, the airline's logo looked very familiar to him.
Oh.
I was bullied when I was in high school. One day, I fell asleep while in class, and when I opened my eyes, it was already dark outside. During the class, no one bothered to wake me up, so I had to leave the classroom alone.
The same narrator?
The dark hallway was scary and tears were rolling down my face. I was really sad, realizing that I was being bullied. Anyway, I was passing by a full-length mirror in the middle of the school stairs. Then, as I was walking downstairs with my cell phone's flashlight, I saw myself in the mirror by accident, and I couldn't take my eyes off of it for a while. I was not reflected on
We
the
special
mirror.
special.
Being confused, I looked in the mirror straight ahead this time, but still, I couldn't see myself. Staring in the mirror for a few more minutes, I then screamed and ran out of the school. Come to think of it now, I think they didn't see me in the classroom that day.
Wow, so I'm up right here, you guys, and this is out of control. Killers on the loose, and I never trust. You should never trust dating online, because you never know what it can end up to. It's crazy and just bananas. It's driving bananas. So thank you guys for tuning in to this video of part 3 of WANSEE Entertainment compilation of July 2020, and thank you guys again. Stay awesome, stay positive, and like, comment, subscribe to this video, to the channel, and until next time, you guys have an awesome, happy, positive day.